If you want highlights, you go to ESPN. If you want stupid, you go listen to ESPN. If you want new and interesting, innovative, and Illinois State updates, you come right here. Let's talk about hypocrisy in the media. And this makes dudes nuts. Brothers are pissed. White dudes are pissed. But smart guys aren't because they know this needs to be discussed. Dumb guys, well, Dakich, I tell you what. You keep talking about race because you're a dumbass. Yes, I am a dumbass. The Kansas City shooting where idiots just ran wild, fatherless cretins ran wild, and we're not allowed to say they were black, but they were black, and I don't give a damn if you get mad about it. They just ran wild and started shooting people, and one of the idiots said, well, that was really stupid. Well, really? Honest to God. Let me ask you a question. You're just being stupid. I heard that, and my mind thought, wait a second. You have such a lack of regard for human life that you think I'm just being stupid is an answer or going to get you out of it. Yeah, I was just being stupid. I mean, that is pure evil, but nobody's going to say that because, well, he just said he was stupid, and he's African-American, and we're not allowed to say anything about African-Americans shooting up folks. The African-American community needs to get its ass in order. It just does regarding guns and shooting and fatherless. Now, I know that's horrible to say, and we're all going to jump out of the windows and say I'm a racist, but all you got to do is look at the frickin' statistics. All you got to do is look at every frickin' number. 51% of the murders committed by about 13% of the population. You can break that down, too. But we're not allowed to say this. No, it's time we say this if we want to solve some problems. How about we start talking honestly? We cannot dumb it down for the dumbest not to get offended. We can't do it anymore. We've done it for years. We're afraid to say what's real. And the fact of the matter is, my African-American friends are with me on this. They're like, we got to do something, anything, to get this figured out because it's going in a terrible direction. And you know what? White dudes aren't much better. I'll be honest with you. I feel like white dudes aren't much better if they're even better. And I'll tell you why. Because there is such a thing as white privilege. Obviously, the fatherless rate is different. Look, but white dudes just think, well, you know what? I'm privileged. I'm going to go do that. It's just ridiculous what's going on here. So let's talk about the difference in media. And this should be not happening. If we want, and I believe in this in my soul, if we want to treat everybody equal, which is what Dr. Martin Luther King said, then treat them freaking equal. You're a black dude, you rob a bank, you're running, we say a black dude, he's on the lookout. White dude robs a bank, we say a white dude. We can't say that in Indy. Yesterday there was a shooting, guy was on the loose. I'm watching Fox News in Indy. They couldn't say black dude or white dude. They knew. They couldn't say. Why couldn't they say? Because it was a black dude. That's unbelievable. Look, do you want equal? Can we have conversations? All right. So, the shooting. You want flaws in the media coverage? I'm going to give them to you right here, and I don't understand it. If a dude is shooting, and all right, let's go through this. So we can't say because he's under 18, they're under 18, the names of the shooters in Kansas City. Well, because they're black, which is stupid. But you know who Adam Rittenhouse is? Boy, oh boy, they could go and tell Adam Rittenhouse within minutes he was under 18. He was at the protest, not the protest, he was at the riots. People were going to kill him. He shot him. Rittenhouse, under 18 at the time, says this, I'm trying to comprehend why the government was quick to reveal my name after I defended myself, but they still haven't released the name of the Kansas City shooters. You want to know why? Ann Coulter's going to tell you why right here.
I mean, we don't know who did this shooting, by the way, the Super Bowl shooting.
We have some idea.
What?
If it were a white man shooting, we'd know.
Well, we don't know. But they haven't.
That's how we know it's not a white man. I can tell you that much.
You think they were repressing that reporting?
They wouldn't tell us about the transgender woman that shot up the Christian school for what, like a year? San Bernardino out here. Remember the crazy terrorist Muslims? That's when I first noticed, they're not telling us who it is. It's not a white male. The longer they go without telling you, it's not a white male.
Okay, well, for this one, for right now, as of Friday night, February 16th.
We know.
We don't officially know. Okay, you know, you have special powers. But
yeah, it's amazing. We know. We know. And look, everybody should be in uproar about it. Everybody. African Americans should. Look, you want to be treated equal, let's treat equal. You want to get to the core of problems, let's get to the core of problems. Look, I don't consider myself anything other than a guy that's going to sit here and tell you the truth. But we got to get to the core of problems, and you can't do it by hiding statistics. You can't be equal if you're not going to be treated equal. I mean, you want equal but special. What do you want? We know the answer. Everybody wants equal but special. I want equal but special. Yeah, treat me equal, but put me to the front of the line when I'm going to the restaurant. I mean, everybody wants that. But if you really want to get down to brass tacks in this country, you got to start talking about things. According to this is Bobby Barack, who's America's conscience. According to the Free Beacon, news outlets are more than likely to mention race of a white shooter than a black shooter at 7-to-1 ratio. Why is that? Seems silly to me. I mean, look, a shooter putting the entire society we live in danger. I told you this before in Indianapolis. If a shooter is on the loose, you can't say if he's black. How are we going to do this? How are we going to find the guy on the loose? Like, if you say he's white, that eliminates, I don't know, in Indy, 50% of the population. If you say he's black, that eliminates 50% of the population. Now you can go find the guy. Now, if you're mad at me or you want to say that I'm racist, tell me why. We should be able to have a conversation on these kind of things, and news media should be able to just say these things honestly. I mean, you got guys running around with guns. During an interview with detectives from a hospital where Mays was being treated after being struck by gunfire during the altercation, Mays said he hesitated shooting because he knew there were kids there. Mays is one of the shooters. Stupid, man. Just pulled out a gun and started shooting. I shouldn't have done that. Just being stupid. Really? Oh, well, in that case, shoot, just go ahead. Mays told investigators he began firing after somebody in the other group said, "I'm going to get you," which he took to mean they would kill him. Said he chose a random person from another group to shoot at, as that person was running away. How about that? That's pure evil. That is nothing short of pure evil. Yeah, well, I'm going to get you at a parade where you're celebrating a Super Bowl championship. I'll bet you anything, and you can get offended by this all you want. I'll bet you there's no dads. I think Mays is like 21 years old. There's adults, 21 and over, involved in this. But we can't say who they are. What are we afraid of? Like, are we afraid that there's going to be more burning down of buildings? Because why? Why? We reported honestly on a murder. Are we afraid that idiot thugs are going to riot in Indianapolis, Chicago, New York because we reported honestly on who is killing people in our society at a parade? That's always my question with things. Why? Why are we afraid? Why is a great question. Little kids ask it all the time, but I always ask it. Why are we afraid to say the shooter was a black guy? Shooter was a transgender guy, girl, whatever the hell they are. I mean, why are we so afraid of that? What is going to happen? That's amazing. It's a question that I can't get answers to. It's a question that I can't get over. Well, it puts a community. Hey, those communities better get their heads out of their ass and start policing their own communities. And I'm talking about white folks, too. If you live in a community where thugs are running your community, white or black, how about y'all stand the hell up? Well, Dakich, you don't understand. You don't live in that. The hell I didn't. I mean, we had big fat deering walking around killing a little girl in my neighborhood right behind my house. That wasn't going to happen twice. Not in my neighborhood. Guys are like, hey, wait a second. We know you little idiots over here. People went to his buddies' doors with baseball bats and said, we know you got a little drug culture here. It stops now. Now, should have done it before. I was in my neighborhood, 1620 West 54th Avenue, Maryville, Indiana. It was Gary, became Maryville. Just for a little reference, because then people say, where's Maryville? It's Gary, or Chicago, outside Chicago. I don't ever claim Chicago. I don't ever claim Gary, except to say that's where I was born. And my neighborhood was on the cusp, so that's where it is. So just a little geography. But a little girl gets stabbed 33 times by big fat deering who used to walk around our neighborhood all drugged up with his pants halfway down his ass. He was a big fat white dude, by the way. And they had a little bit of a gang over here by Deering's house. Kellerman was the guy's name, and, man, people didn't mess around. They said, screw this ain't happening in our neighborhood. That's what needs to happen. That's why I'm so big on this, because I've seen it happen. I remember we got on roofs and fired acorns at this little group of gang guys. Little mini micro thugs. That's what needs to happen. Get your communities in order. I hear about excellence. I hear about blah, 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 blah. Get your communities in order. Defend yourselves. Don't be cowering because some slap dick Johnny. Oh, I'm stupid, man. I just started shooting people. Dumb. I'll give you good. You want good? Let's switch to good. Caitlin Clark, the good. The good is Caitlin freaking Clark. Caitlin Clark is boosting the economy of Minneapolis for the Big Ten tournament like nobody's business. Like, I think Caitlin Clark today comes into Bloomington to play Indiana University, and it's a bit of a rivalry. Indiana women are really good. Indiana women just got their ass beat, so, I guess they'll be mad. I don't know whether women get mad. I have no idea. I used to love coaching women at my basketball camp. It was the best. I had a girls' camp for 20 years. Anyway, long story short, Caitlin Clark coming into Bloomington. I have a lot of people saying, yeah, I'm going to the game. Never been to a women's game, but I'm going to the game. Well, guess what they're going to do? They're going to eat at Nick's. They're going to have a couple beers. They may go to Zagreb's steak place. They may go to wherever else, sports. They may end up at the upstairs pub. But she, ladies and gentlemen, is the draw. Indiana basketball is good. They draw a nice crowd now. Never did. But Caitlin Clark packs it out. Last night, Indiana played Nebraska. Indiana has a walking dead man as a coach, Mike Woodson. Sad, because Woody was a great player for a little bit at Indiana. Well, anyway, long story short, balcony not full. Indiana, Nebraska. Tonight, balcony full, which means there'll be about 17,200 plus in Assembly Hall. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be great. But here's the deal. Here's what she's doing in Minneapolis. Listen to this. Approximately 1,500 tickets are left before a total sellout is achieved for the entire tournament, not just Iowa games. Championship game tickets are going for over 200 on the secondary market. You couldn't swing a dead cat and give away a ticket to the women's Big Ten tournament. Now the whole thing is sold out. How about that? Now, Minneapolis is a hellhole. It's a dump. But I got to tell you, people are flocking for a chance to see Caitlin Clark. Hotels within walking distance of the Target Center are charging over $325 a night without tax. Now, about this. Caitlin Clark just surpassed Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders as a top-selling athlete in NIL sales, which means athlete-branded college gear sales. That's pretty good. And you know what else? She deserves it. I don't know if Shedeur Sanders deserved it. I mean, his team stunk. But I got to tell you, he was pretty ballsy by the way he played. His dad, I say, for a few weeks, was the lead story in college football, which means everybody associated with it is getting fat. But when you watch Caitlin Clark, you see greatness. When you watch Caitlin Clark, you see somebody that is different. You see somebody that plays like Pistol Pete Maravich, and make no mistake, nobody in Serbian world plays like Pistol Pete Maravich, unless it was Pistol Pete Turgovich of UCLA, who was from East Chicago, or Pistol Danny Dakich. I didn't play like her. I couldn't shoot like that. Nobody can shoot like that. Let's make no mistake. Whether you like the women's game or you don't like the women's game, Caitlin Clark is changing women's basketball in the very same way that Steph Curry changed men's basketball. Well, how is that, Double D? Well, I'll tell you how that is. Used to be, and I've said this before, the running three-pointer from 28 feet, no good. Bad shot. Now she makes it like it's her job. And it is. I'm sure she's being paid very well. Stylish passing. I used to have a pass when I played on the playground. I would be on a 3-on-2 or 2-on-1. I would hold it out in front of the defender and hit it. It was classy. Telling you, you bring that act as a white dude in Gary, Indiana to Roosevelt High School and whip it up. Pew! Man, people were falling out of the rafters. That's right. That's Caitlin Clark. People are falling out of the rafters, and rightfully so. The woman is dynamite. And think about this. Would you have ever thought in your lifetime to turn on an Iowa versus Indiana women's basketball game? I don't even know if the game is on. I assume it is tonight. But see this fat guy? I'm going to be watching. And I'm not sure who I'm rooting for. Like, the Indiana women are all mad at me because I said, listen, ladies, I know you're popular, great. But they were bitching because, well, the advertising for the Iowa-Indiana women's game was all about Caitlin Clark. And I said, look, what do you think it's about? Of course it's about Caitlin Clark. Well, everybody got mad. You're dissing Indiana women's basketball. I'm like, no, I'm not. No one's ever paid attention to Indiana women's basketball until the last few years. Hell, I used to go to Indiana women's basketball games. Nobody cared. Care now because you're good. Got a little savvy. Got a little dynamic to you. Yay, but he ain't Caitlin Clark. Nobody is. And the numbers, they do not lie. They don't. I mean, selling out the entire tournament of the women's Big Ten tournament in Minnesota? Minneapolis? You ever been there? It's the only time a transgender or transvestite, I'm not sure, I think I've told this story on our show many times. My wife and I at the Final Four a few years ago are walking back from dinner about 10 o'clock at night. Hey, literally popped out of a tree. I ain't lying to you. You know, sometimes in cities you're walking along and there's stores and there's trees, like, you know, a line. I literally popped out of a tree. High heels about that high, about 6'3", red dress, nice rack. Hey, and I looked, immediately saw the Adam's apple. Hey, can I talk to you? And I looked at it and said, not a chance. No. No interest. I don't care if it was name a name. I'm going home. I've had enough. I'm walking back to my hotel. I don't need to talk to you. Period. So there you go. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but Caitlin Clark has made women's basketball incredibly cool and must-watch TV. Now, the other side of that, known race baiter, could never play nothing. Guy named Mike Freeman with the USA Today. Mike Freeman couldn't play with himself. Mike Freeman he has absolutely no knowledge of sport, but because he's African-American, he's had pretty good jobs as a writer. CBS, now he's with USA Today. Now, I don't know if USA Today is a good job as a writer. I mean, Gannett is from hell, but Mike is a race baiter. Mike has no sports knowledge, zero, zip, nada. But Mike will find a racial issue where there is none. And give Mike credit, he's always looking, sniffing. Something racially bad has to happen here. So before, we all know what it was. It was, well, there's no black head coaches in the NFL. Diversity reigns, according to Mike. Everything must not be diverse. It must be black. Good for Mike, man. He's down with the cause. Yay, Rock. Go fight, win, Mike Freeman. Never played a sport, couldn't coach a sport. I don't even know if, it's like Greg Doyle coming over to my house to play a 3-on-3 tournament one time. We're like, Jesus. My buddies are like, this guy tells us about sports? This guy? Doyle? Could barely walk, chew gum. He's falling down. Couldn't play it dead. I think he left. I think he did what Doyle does. I think he went and tried to find a married woman with 2 young kids. But anyway, same thing with Mike Freeman. Can't play dead. Nothing to him. But he will find a race issue where there is none. He is upset, Mikey Freeman, about the lack of non-white NFL, wait for it, offensive coordinators. Despite Gerard Mayo, Antonio Pierce, Dave Canales, Raheem Morris getting rewarded with head coaching jobs, 18 of the 32 defensive coordinators are non-white, with 14 being black. Mike, I love Mike. He's so stupid. He's beautifully stupid. He's trying so hard. Just another one of those guys I'm sure was made fun of, could never play. Now he's angry, so now we got to listen. Okay, Mikey, what's going on here? Something remarkable happened. Yes, it's remarkable. During this hiring season, as things stand now, there will be 0 non-white coordinators entering this season. He writes in a column beautifully titled, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The NFL will have 0 non-white offensive coordinators. Wow. What a tragedy. I mean, look, hey, I tell you what. You keep talking. If I were owners, I'd be like, hey, man, shut up. I mean, we can make this thing all white. I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be funny? Owner goes, like your dad, right? Your dad's like, when you're complaining about something, yeah, we'll take this away. Yeah. That's pretty funny. I just got a kick out of myself. It's about a thing that happened to me. Anyway, this particular moment for the league is typical of the NFL. There's one historic achievement that is worth celebrating, followed by another that sets the league back. Yeah, okay. So the league is set back, according to this dolt, because offensive coordinators aren't white or are white. Let me ask you a question. Anybody watch Super Bowl? Anybody buy any merch? All-time records. Well, you don't understand, man. Set back in terms of social justice. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Mike Freeman is the kind of guy you just sit on. You're like, you're an idiot. I get what you're trying to do. It's your niche. It's your niche in the Bomani Jones. Look, I've become a social justice activist. I'm officially. I'm going to put it on my Twitter X bio coming up here after the show, so I can speak on this freely. As a social justice advocate, I say, Mike Freeman, fuck off. That's what I say. Again, go back to the offensive coordinators. There will be a significant amount of owners and general managers who will look to almost exclusively hire from the offensive coordinator pool. Here's the deal about coaching. Yeah, I mean, look, if you really knew what went into it. Like in coaching basketball, AD comes, man, you got to hire a black guy. I go, dude, hey, you got to hire a black guy. All right. Okay. There are so many stories I can't even tell you. It's better now. But it's just funny to me that you got, as a head coach, you got to, particularly a black head coach, you're like, well, I need a black coordinator. Really? Let me tell you what I would do. Let me tell you what I did. I hired the people that I thought were going to help me the most. I don't give a damn if you're white or black. I don't give a damn if you're green or purple. What am I going to do? Hire Mike? This ain't the newspaper media industry where you got Rayfeld Davis on at halftime who can't freaking tell you anything about basketball on the Big Ten Network, but he's hired because of a DEI hiring. It ain't that. This is the NFL where wins and losses matter. Big Ten Network, ESPN, Fox Sports 1, wins and losses don't matter when you're doing a halftime show. What matters is somebody doesn't jump up and give you a bad DEI grade. So that's why you see Lavelle Jordan and these guys at halftime. That's the only thing that matters. But in coaching, records matter. You get fired. And nobody asks, hey, did you have a white coordinator when you lost the Super Bowl? Hey, did you have a black coordinator when you went 0-18? Nobody. And as a coach, you shouldn't care. What you should hire is the best guy to help you win. Dan Quinn hired Cliff Kingsbury and not Eric Bieniemy, and every brother went nuts. Hey, man, screw you. You're on a show, if you're Stephen A. Smith, at ESPN, that the only thing that matters to ESPN is the diversity scorecard. Ratings don't even matter. Not a true story. I mean, they're nice and they get good ratings, but ratings do not matter. What matters to everybody, including the NFL, is the diversity scorecard. It does not matter to coaches. Coaches would say, hey, look, I got an all-black staff, and we went 18-0, and we all got extensions, and we're going to the Hall of Fame. I got an all-white staff. We went 18-0. We all got extensions. We're going to the Hall of Fame. I got 3 black guys, 2 white guys, a dog, a shepherd, and a prostitute, and we went 18-0, and we're all going to the Hall of Fame. There's a record in coaching. There isn't a record in media. The only record is, somebody Edwards, professor at Cal, says that the Big Ten got a good DEI score. That's the only thing that matters in that. I mean, ask Eric Shanks, the head of Fox. Why do you hire that guy? DEI, man. He's not going to tell you the truth. But that's what it is. That is the difference. Mike Freeman has to be hired because USA Today needs a decent DEI score. But coaches don't need to hire based on race because screw the DEI score. My record is on Sunday, wins or losses, period. And if you want to get mad at me for having an all-black staff or an all-white staff, God bless you. Because you're going to get mad at me when we lose. When Mike Freeman or Greg Doyle writes something as idiotic as, let's see, Archie Miller is a Grand Slam hire. Headlines, Indy Star by the cowardly Greg Doyle. I said Archie Miller's the worst hire you could possibly make. How'd that work out? But it doesn't matter that Doyle said that. In coaching, that would be a 5-game losing streak. Doyle just goes to the next. Freeman just goes to the next. The guy on TV just goes to the next. So screw you, Mike Freeman. I don't give a damn. There is a significant number of owners and general managers who will look to they may interview defense coordinators, but they want to hire from the offensive side of the ball, and having no people of color holding the top spot on offense is devastating for the league. Yeah, okay. Sure it is. The amount of people that give a shit is zero other than some fake race-baiting clown. That's not true. Guys that didn't get the job, zero. But you know what? Hire a brother. What are you going to do? Just because Mikey Freeman. Mikey Freeman is like this big, and he puts on a mean face. He's a social justice activist just like me. Salute. Fraud. Let me ask you a question. Where else are you going to get this kind of talk? Our guy. Wait a second. Former wrestler. This is an interesting story, man. This is going to be a problem. Former wrestler Paul Roma. Paul Wrestler, he's a former WWE wrestler. Listen to this. He has made further allegations against Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's got a problem, I think, claiming McMahon is aware of sexual misconduct that has occurred at the company over the years. Really? Roma responded to an interview that his friend and former business partner, Mario Mancini, gave on News Nation. In it, Mancini claimed that he was aware of one incident worse than those in the latest lawsuit filed by former employee Janelle Grant. Mario and I are really surprised, Roma said. We spoke about it, and we're surprised that no one has come forward. But on the flip side, I think that, they're of age now, They may be married and have kids, and they don't want to open Pandora's box. I can't blame them. And as I said to Mario, can you blame them? Do you really want to open up this can of worms? Well, here's what happens in these situations. Now that you've said that, now it's getting public. The can of worms will be open. But you know what? He's absolutely right. See, not everybody wants to come forward with the nonsense, the horrible things in their past. Not everybody wants to do that. I mean, Greg Doyle did it in an article with me because he wanted to get out in front of me. Actually, he was afraid that I would tell what was actual with his numerous affairs. So he put it in an article to kind of cover himself. I get that. That's different than this. You get a wife, you get a couple kids. Next thing you know, guess what? Really don't need to open this up. I got a nice life. Yeah, it's terrible, but that's life. A lot of people think like I think, that when the doctor smacks you right on the ass and you start crying, there's no guarantee that life's going to be easy. Now, if something's criminal, horrific, sure. But if something happened to you that you didn't really like in your life and you can handle it, why would you want to open up Pandora's box? But I would say this. It's going to come out. See, Roma wrestled in the WWE mid-'80s, early 90s. Here's what he claimed that McMahon is aware. They were asked to do things, sexual things with other men that they did not want to do. Vince is fully aware, as are a lot of other guys, fully aware of what I'm speaking about. And there's guys that have passed away, vice presidents that are part of it, or were part of it. All right. Well, that's going to come out. Said, yeah, talking about misconduct. It was pretty regular. You heard it on the regular basis for the most part. Then you wouldn't hear it for a while. Then it'd come full circle. But it wasn't, so much Vince as it was the people that surrounded him. You're talking about an industry where you have young, good-looking, well-built men in a ring, half naked, three-quarters naked, actually. They put you in a bad situation, especially since you start making money. You get comfortable with that, and then you find out that your job is on the line, either do things or get fired. I witnessed quite a few walk away, Roma said. Money wasn't worth it for them to go that route. Lee's dad used to say, more money, more problems. Now, I know that's in a rap song, but Lee's dad was the first one that I heard of it, and it was true. More money, more problems. You start making money, I call it the Clarissa Thompson effect. You start making a little money. You go from being the little sideline girl in the Big Ten to now you're hosting a god-awful pregame and halftime and postgame show on Amazon. You're in a few commercials. You get bulletproof. So you say and do stupid things. Clarissa Thompson's stupid thing was, well, I made up things when I was a sideline reporter, and because she's a woman, nobody really went after her. Well, it's that way in every industry. Every single industry is like that. You get a little money, you get a little fame, and away you go. And then, when it's away you go, you got to start making decisions, moral decisions, decisions that could cost you a lot of money, decisions that if you like your lifestyle in the WWE as a big-time guy, money, fame, the thrill of walking out there and yelling and screaming on the mic, talking about how I'm going to beat your ass, that kind of thing. If you love that, what decision you going to make? And then years go by, nothing happens, and you don't worry about it. But now it comes to roost, and it will. This is going to end up very, very badly for Vince McMahon. It just is. Anthony Rendon. Man, Anthony Rendon is the $245 million baseball player that basically says, yeah, I don't like baseball. Yeah, I don't care about baseball. Yeah, my faith, my family, baseball, if it ever changed, I ain't playing. Okay. A lot of people are criticizing him. Our friend, Gary Sheffield Jr., said it perfectly. Never has a guy said the right thing in the wrong way. Who's going to argue with my faith, my family, over baseball? But Rendon, made it sound awful. Rendon, made it sound like he didn't give a rat's ass about baseball today, tomorrow, or the next day. And the Flying Nicks, Nick and Nick of producer fame of this show, one of the Flying Nicks yesterday on our afternoon conference call said, hey, I could tell Rendon didn't care. He always looked like he didn't care. Well, sometimes guys do. We had a player at Indiana named Jay Edwards. Man, I tell you what, Jay Edwards would piss Coach Knight off, and at the end of the day, I'd say, Coach, the dude got 27, 6, and 8. And we just won on a last-second shot by him. I know, but he could go hard. Okay. Well, sometimes some guys look like they're doing nothing, but they're going 8 million miles an hour. That was not me. I was one of those guys that was like a hamster on a treadmill, going nowhere fast. But Rendon, maybe he's one of those guys. I don't know. But Jonathan Papelbon, he ain't having it. Jonathan Papelbon, former closer for both the Yankees and the Red Sox, every single day this guy shows up to go out. It's like a chore. He got away with just raw athleticism and just raw talent. You can do that, but there's a reason why he's not as successful as he really could be. He's got more raw talent than three of us combined, but he just doesn't give a shit. I knew that when he became a free agent. I was like, whoever gets this dude is going to be totally bamboozled. It's going to be the worst deal in history, and it has proven that way. That's strong. Yeah, that's solid. I ain't mad at you, Papelbon. Rendon was one of my favorite players. He was. I don't know. I just thought he was cool when he was with the Nationals. Yeah, I don't know why. Bernie Williams, one of my favorite, maybe my favorite non-Cub. Rendon in that conversation. And now I'm like, you suck. I don't need to know you don't care. I really don't. We don't have to tell everything in our life. I can't begin to tell you the things Lee and I did last night. Oh, around 11 o'clock. No chance. If you're married to all this, how can you not? But we don't need to tell everything. I love baseball, man. It's the greatest sport ever. I'm blessed to play it. Honored to be here. Can't wait to get the season started. What's so hard about that? Save yourself a lot of trouble. The great Dick Vermeil came into the Indiana men's basketball locker room to give a speech after he won a Super Bowl. And one of the things that he said was, don't complicate winning. You guys out there, you complicate your life. You got to have a side piece. You got to have this, that, and the other. Don't do it. You women out there complicate your life. Don't do it. Keep it easy. And Rendon complicated his life. Last night, I got gas. Last night, I wanted, well, it was the best and the worst. Let's put it that way. The best was Illinois State. Illinois State, guess what? Illinois State went out and beat the living dog out of Northern Iowa. Didn't really beat them enough to win the game. It's a big win for Illinois State. Why? Well, simple. Team was ahead of them in the standings. Team was one of those legacy teams in the Missouri Valley, and as Ryan Peden and my son try to build the program, you got to beat those teams once in a while, and they did. But the game of the night was unbelievable. You Indiana fans, you suck. You're starting to boo our team? Look, I understand. I do. I understand players are being paid. And I don't care. I honestly don't care. You never boo anybody at Indiana basketball. I've said this for 3 or 4 years now. Indiana basketball has turned into every other school. It has. Every other school. I mean, think about it. What's the difference between Memphis and Indiana basketball? Nothing. Indiana basketball used to be, well, it used to be the heartbeat of the school. And the school was a great Midwestern college. Now what happened? Let me give you background. They opened it up. They got over 35% out of state, mostly from East Coast and north side of Chicago. Basically rich little pricks that have come in. The drug trade has gone way up. Crime has gone way up. How do I know? If there's a big bar in Bloomington, I know the owners. And I know that waitresses now get stiff left and right. They know who's coming in. They have to be walked to their cars. Indiana University has become a shithole. And the basketball team is no different. The basketball team last night got down 20. 20 at home at half to Nebraska. Did I say to North Carolina? No. Nebraska ended up losing by 15. Cut it to about 2 and then quit. The head coach, Mike Woodson, going to be a tough sledding. Tough sledding here. Kentucky at the buzzer. I gave you that as the win of the night. Kentucky was leading all game. Next thing you know, at the buzzer, Angel Reese is running out there. Angel Reese is just going crazy. Good for her, man. Yeah, good for her. Florida got beat at Alabama. Here's the thing about Alabama. You know one great thing about Alabama is? Alabama likes sports. The University of Alabama likes sports. I'm not sure Michigan and Ohio State like sports. They like football. Let me tell you something. Back, I don't know, whenever my son, I never know days or whatever, but back when my son was playing at Ohio State, they were 15-3 in the Big Ten. They had one sellout the entire year against number 1 Michigan State. I'm watching Alabama yesterday. I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. Selling out. Huh. Can I ever tell you the story? Well, I'll tell it some other time about how I won $200 from my director by getting 3 words in at an Alabama football game. He said I couldn't get him in. I got him in. Long story. Anyway, my guys, the Knicks, say the Pacers should draft Tominaga. Tominaga is a little Asian kid that, well, Fred Hoiberg told me he went to go see and couldn't believe his assistants went to see him. And now he's the best player in the Big Ten.